I'm sure there's a lot more fishy stuff going on behind the scenes than what we're seeing here, but at least publicly speaking, Vivek Ramaswamy, previous opponent to Donald Trump and now ring kisser, put out an open letter to YouTube, a video on YouTube called Dear YouTube. Say that 3 times fast, I dare you. I'll give you $100. Anyway, Vivek Ramaswamy put out a video pleading to Alphabet to bring Alex Jones and Nick Fuentes, 2 of the most far-right Nazi assholes, back to the platform so that they can have even more overwhelming reach. Meanwhile, it has been heavily speculated that left-leaning content is being suppressed, something that there might be some merit to, especially considering how much the right has been pushing right-wing content or not the right, YouTube has been pushing right-wing content lately. It's definitely possible. I feel like this is just a way of adding some kind of, like, plausibility to the public story behind YouTube now, no doubt, playing favorites and unbanning these figures that were previously banned for the most heinous policy violations. It's crazy how, like, the current administration is just so pro-hate speech, they have to pressure private companies into loosening their rules on hate speech now. Like, how much we backslid culturally from this big pendulum swing to the right that we're in right now. Let's go ahead and watch this video. I have not seen Vivek speak for a while now, and it's ironic that he's calling for this because, like, the Nazi side of the right online has particularly targeted him because he's brown. Like, he's not a white guy. Like the right wing, like the really right wing, the people he's advocating for right now, they don't see him as human. A lot of cuck shit happening in this video, and we haven't even started. Oh, hold on. My OBS crashed, so between segments there, so I have to set up the audio again. My bad entirely. I apologize.
This is a message for the leadership of YouTube. Frankly, I probably could have called you privately, but I think it's better to just talk about this in the open.
Okay, there's definitely fishy shit happening behind the scenes. I guarantee you we're gonna find out that, like, the White House is threatening Alphabet with legal action if they don't bring them back. And this is all being done to lend plausibility to the idea that it's just, you know, YouTube's just answering their requests they made publicly, politely, an open letter to YouTube. On
this particular issue. My understanding is in the last 24 hours, you locked the accounts and shut down the accounts of 2 guys, Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones. They have big followings on the American right.
Haven't they been banned for, like, years now? Did they come back to YouTube and I didn't even know? Huh.
I think it's better if you just unlock those accounts and let the guys be heard. And I say this not because I'm some particular fan or vice versa. At least one of them, Nick, is probably not a particularly big fan of mine. No more than Jimmy Kimmel is, by the way, for very different reasons.
If you're gonna hold this position, then why the fuck are you not calling out the left getting censored? Why are you not calling out Kimmel getting censored? Why are you actively taking part in calling for the censorship of Jimmy Kimmel? Because he criticized Trump. Like, literally because he criticized Trump, not even Charlie Kirk, mind you. He didn't criticize Charlie Kirk. It was just Trump. And so that means he needs to be deplatformed. But these literal Nazis need to be replatformed because they agree with you. Could you look any more like a biased partisan hack?
That's beside the point. It doesn't matter. The reason I'm asking you to do it is that censorship isn't good for America.
How are you guys still rolling out this bullshit excuse? You're actively running the country. Censorship is not when private company bans your account. Censorship is when the government decides you are going to lose your job because they will sue your employer unless they fire you, i.e. Jimmy Kimmel and Colbert. Like, you can even see the smug shit-eating grin on his face because he knows. He fucking knows how full of shit he is. He knows, bro. Look at that smug shit-eating grin. He fucking knows, dude.
It's antithetical to our culture. And we're the country on God's green earth where we're able to talk to each other in the open. And I want to credit YouTube and Google and your parent company and so much of your competitors in Silicon Valley for creating the first instance of the free and open internet with search engines. It's a beautiful thing for democratizing speech.
God, even like the way he speaks, he sounds like a supervillain that's just like bullshitting his way through he sounds like a VOT representative from The Boys. I cannot believe they're still pulling this shit. I cannot believe they're still pulling the "we're fighting for freedom of speech" bit. You run the country. If there is censorship happening in this country, it is because you're doing it. That is how running the country with unanimous control of all branches of government works. There is no group for you to blame when shit happens you don't like anymore. And when you want to control the actions of private companies, you're doing exactly the shit. You're censoring these companies, whom are private corporations. You're doing some commie shit, basically. The government telling private companies what they can and can't do with their own platforms. That sounds like some communist shit, come to think of it. It's not. It's really just Republicans don't believe in anything anymore. They have no genuine political alignment. They just do what they know will get them power and help them consolidate said power.
But I think we take a step in the wrong direction when we choke those same technologies that allow us to access open debate and open ideas.
No, the internet has done everything opposite of that. The internet has not made us more able to access the truth. It has made the truth more buried in lies and bullshit. I kneel to Kojima, as he predicted all of this shit, of course. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, really would help a lot if you left a like and a comment on it right now. Earlier on, the better. Really does help to boost the channel and the algorithm, and means a lot. Thank you to everybody who does that.
It breeds discontent. It breeds frustration. It actually breeds mistrust. If you tell people they can't speak, that's when they scream. And if you tell people they can't scream, that's when they tear things down. So I think free speech is a precondition for peace.
You should internalize that lesson, not just say it because it sounds good and makes people clap.
It's a precondition for the scientific method. It's a precondition for our shared unity, our shared national identity as Americans. Now, I can understand why you might think that certain types of speech or certain things that are said that are hurtful to other people or that may spread misinformation or may they count as violent or dangerous threats shouldn't be allowed on your platform. I personally take a broad view of what type of speech is an expression of an opinion that's protected, but that's a separate discussion.
Like, we're literally like days after they tried to go after Jimmy Kimmel. Is this like a game? Are they just trolling right now? Is this like... Are you gaslighting us right now? Are you still trying to play the left is censoring everybody game as you start like meticulously going down the list of left-wing pundits you don't like? Trump literally bragged saying, "I heard Jimmy Kimmel is next," after he got Colbert fired, by the way.
About whether somebody says a particular thing that you think doesn't belong on your platform. That's one category of speech moderation. There's a different category of saying that you may demonetize certain people. You're not going to pay them. That even if they're able to speak on your platform, it's not necessarily their right to be paid for doing so or putting advertisers next to their name. That's a separate discussion. Personally, I don't like any of those forms of speech suppression as a general matter, but...
What do you mean you don't like it? You realize that the reason why YouTube has to demonetize content is so that ads can exist at all on the platform. Also, YouTube like barely demonetizes anything anymore. I put Nazi in my titles and it still gets green dollar signs now. So YouTube really doesn't give a fuck about anything now. You can even swear in the first few and last few minutes of your videos too. You can say fuck now. On top of that though, what's so ironic about this is that these are not cases of YouTube just arbitrarily deciding to fuck over creators. That's not what that is. Like, when YouTube demonetizes a video and limits the amount of ads that run, they're more carefully deciding to run ads from brands that don't typically get pissy when they run alongside, controversial content, because the really big, really massive, big paying advertisers that pay the bills for a lot of creators and YouTube itself, they don't like it when their ads run on anything that is too far from brand safe. So the demonetization is done to protect all the creators who can actually keep their shit together and not like constantly break TOS and constantly put out content that advertisers don't like. Because if YouTube didn't discriminate in that way, then all of us get demonetized. None of us get ads. All of our CPMs go to shit. As much as YouTube sucks for a lot of reasons, YouTube doesn't want to suck. YouTube is actively trying to suck less, often failing, but in many cases succeeding. You know, credit to YouTube where it's due.
But at least those are discussions that reasonable minds can have. There's a whole separate third category of censorship, though, that I think is particularly harmful. which is the idea that just because of who you are, your name and who you are, you don't get to express any idea.
Your name. Okay, so Alex Jones and Nick Fuentes were born with those names, and because of that, they're banned? I didn't know that. I genuinely had no clue that Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones, like, they were born banned from these platforms. That's really fucked up. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, Vivek Ramaswamy, because I was under the impression that something they said or did, or many actions they said or did, were the reason they got banned. I was under the impression that when you make an account on YouTube, you have to sign something called a Terms of Service Agreement. You agree not to do a variety of things, such as doxing, coordinating harassment, doing hate speech, encouraging violence, encouraging terrorism. Alex Jones and Nick Fuentes did a variety of those things, and I was under the impression that's why they were banned. I didn't realize that they were just determined to have been banned from these platforms from birth, and had nothing to do with their actions. Thank you for telling me.
Whether it's misinformation, hateful speech, whether it's dangerous, or whatever you deem it to be, irrespective of that, you're not making that judgment just based on who.
How are you guys doing this shit after, like, calling for the mass banning of anybody who joked about Charlie Kirk's death, dog? Are you serious? Even if it's dangerous speech, harmful speech, like, how are you gonna argue that, like, Charlie Kirk jokes are somehow worse than any of these things that you claim deserve to be protected?
Who you are, you don't get to speak.
I mean, we know. It's why he has the shit-eating grin on his face the whole time.
I think that breeds mistrust. I don't think that's good for our country. There's legal arguments to be had. I've made legal arguments elsewhere in my books, in Wall Street Journal pieces, and there are legal arguments that you could construct that say that if a tech company is protected by Section 230, a government-created shield of immunity, that if a tech company is responding, even indirectly, to the threats of government officials, maybe that is actually even a legal First Amendment violation. That's not even what I'm talking about.
Why is he lampshading exactly what's happening? That the government is pressuring these tech companies, such as YouTube, into not banning, but letting certain people on? Mind you, it's pretty likely that YouTube is going to start suppressing left-wing content if they're not already. Based on where things are heading, like, it looks like there's going to be a lot of White House pressure for YouTube to, like, maybe not ban left-wing content, but to suppress it harder than it's already, like, for it to be harder to exist as a left-wing figure than it already is. It might already be happening. It might be the cause of the view drop that a lot of left-wing channels have seen lately. Let's hope not.
Talking about right now. What I'm talking about is not a legal point, it's just a cultural point. It's the question of whether this is good or bad for America. And I think we live in a moment right now where when we tell people, whether it's the government or even a powerful company, when you tell people that because of who you are, you deserve not to be heard, I think that actually divides us.
It's not who you are, it's what you've said and done. Alex Jones has gone to court and was forced to pay the families of murdered children a settlement because he lied about them and called them crisis actors.
Even if it's done with the best of intentions of thinking it brings most of the rest of the country together, in the long run, it actually throws kerosene on the very flame you were trying to quash. And so that's my ask to you. I'm not trying to do this in some type of faux indignation, angry way that escalates some political fight. That's not the goal. I actually think that it's often possible to get to the right answer through just reasonable, open dialogue. That's what I hope this is. I hope you're able to reconsider a decision that you made that may have been a wrong decision. And I think we need more space as a country when people do make a wrong decision to be able to be given an off-ramp.
All of this bullshit, all of this delivered with a shit-eating grin in the aftermath of overtly using the government to censor multiple large left-wing voices, Colbert and Kimmel, and they're just the start. We all know they're just the start. They're actually going to try to do this shit-eating grin, we love free speech game as they silence the left. Unbelievable, dude. And by that I mean fully believable, absolutely in line with how shameless and evil they are.
To be able to say that, you know what, after thinking about it, yeah, we agree, we're persuaded that all else equal, even though we intended well, we ought to let people speak and be heard. That's what I hope happens here. And so my ask is, and again, speaking as a guy who, from Jimmy Kimmel to Nick Fuentes, probably don't like me very much. I don't care. That doesn't matter. It's not what this is about. It's not even about the content. It's about the principle.
Who's making him do this? Who's making him do this, by the way, is what I want to know.
I'd ask you to restore the accounts of those guys and believe me, it will be a down payment on beginning to reunite this country, a project on which we have yet a very long way to go.
Neo-Nazis have to have platforms to mend the divide in this country. It's very important. Very important. Let's read the comments. Stop the censorship, YouTube. YouTube needs free speech. They are still censoring conservatives, always have. Yes, stop conservative censorship on YouTube. Thank you for speaking up, Vivek. YouTube openly admitted to censoring people on behest of the Biden administration. They are a publisher, not a platform. It's well past time to revoke their Section 230 protections. By the way, yes, the FBI has forced YouTube to admit they censored creators on behalf of the Biden administration. What they're referring to is the same thing as what came out in the Twitter files that they blew up over years ago, which was the Biden administration sending requests to platforms to take down revenge porn of Hunter Biden. So once again, it is the Hunter Biden revenge porn thing brought back up, being used as some kind of silver bullet against the left. Finally, this platform is being called out, sick of having comments censored, removed, or blocked. All lawful comments, by the way, yet they see fit to control the narrative just like the mainstream media. They flat out lie, too. I pay for premium and have clicked do not recommend CBS, NBC, CNN, MSNBC more than 300 times, and each time they say we will not recommend this channel again. But when I search YouTube for anything conservative, I get blasted with nothing but clips from these very channels. 100%. As Charlie Kirk said, when we stop talking, that's when violence starts. You know, Charlie Kirk was doing politics the right way, trying to keep things peaceful. It's the violent left that just they can't keep their fists from hitting Nazi jaws, I guess, you know? Just can't stop themselves. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, if you like me dunking on Vivek Ramaswamy, then please consider leaving a comment, a like. It really does help the channel immensely, whether you're watching now or in the future. Really, thank you so much for helping out the channel. It means the world. Subscribe and ring the bell icon if you want to see more from me in the future as well. It really does help a lot, and YouTube might tell you when I go live or upload in the future. And if you want to see more from me on other platforms, follow my social medias linked down below as well. And finally, if you want to support me directly, financially, help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub to someone else on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buy some custom Xander Hall merch through the Streamlabs link down below. Regardless of how you support me though, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, have a good one.